Hi, my name is Ellie Drew, your clairvoyant researcher. Welcome back. Today I want to talk to you about a question that I commonly get asked, like, Ellie, how do you get so much information? Well, I already told you that I'm a master of surrender, centering, grounding, surrender. You have to learn to do that. But how do you get information? How do you perceive this information? How do you cultivate this? Well, truly, it is a cultivation. And yes, you can learn how to do it. But the question is, will you do the practices? Will you do the work that it takes to do it? Because this is not something that you do. Ultimately, you are cultivating who you are. It is your beingness, grounded within your system, that allows you to walk with grace in the world, but also to have higher perceptions. So it's like having a wider dial on your bandwidth on your radio station. You can just perceive more. So if you're eating toxically and not exercising and all the things that I've talked about in previous sessions, then all of that bogs you down in order to get that higher level insight. So that's why I really insist that you take care of that kind of thing first. Then you have to learn how to get if you're in your mind, that cord locked into the base of your spine. If you're in your emotions, then you have to get from your solar plexus and lock that into your spine. We've talked about that. Now you have to start working your energy system. So you've worked the physical, hopefully, and now you need to work your energy system. So there's easy ways and easy practices that I have learned, and I have asked my teachers how to do things to be able to perceive more. Ultimately, I'm really lazy and I like efficiency. I don't like excess talk. I want just tell me how to do it and then I'm good. And so everything that I'm going to teach you is the most efficient way that I know how to teach somebody how to achieve particular states of consciousness. Breathing, yep. Deep breath in and out. Now the thing with breathing is that if you're only breathing, you're not doing much with it. Breath is an opportunity for you to cultivate. Every breath is an opportunity to cultivate, whether you're driving, standing in a line at the grocery store. So you learn to cultivate your breath first. I tend to breathe in through my nose, out through my mouth when I'm doing practices, but it doesn't matter. It just makes it matters to me. So find your breathing pattern that matters to you. So mine, I breathe in, but I do it with intention. I breathe in and I'm breathing into my center. When I breathe out, I'm breathing down to my power station. Why do I always breathe down to my power station? The reason is because constantly the mind is wanting to pull me up out of my body, the emotions are wanting to pull me up out of my body, and you cannot become untethered. You must be ruthless with your tethers, and so you must always control your mind, always control your emotions. When you are locked in your energy body, you're breathing, and every time I breathe out to my lower dantian, I feel myself settling deeper into my body. So practice this now. I want you to feel airy-fairy. Just airy-fairy, airy-fairy. How does it feel in your body? Airy-fairy. When I'm on stage with people, I'll put my hand behind them and then press on their chest and they get all wobbly. And I say, now do one breath, make it a conscious breath and lock yourself down. So you breathe into that central channel, and on the out breath, you are locking yourself down into your power station. And even if you want to lock yourself down into the base of your spine, do that. Breathe it in, center it down. Now when I have people on stage, I press at their chest and they're just solid. So what does it feel like for you when you breathe in that conscious way? Good. All right, now I want you to release it again. Go airy-fairy, bubble head. Yep, So energetically, when you're airy-fairy, this is when I hear people's sounds that are so noisy. This is when you're an airhead and you get delusional because you're in the mental or the emotional realms. So now, one breath. You can center yourself in one breath, okay? Do it again now. Do it with me. So you breathe in, focusing on breathing, bringing your attention to that central channel. And now on the out-breath, feel yourself sinking down into your body, locking in. Lock in at lower dantian, your lower belly, lock in at the base of your spine. And now assess. How do you feel? When I'm teaching classes, rooted, grounded, safe, here, more present. Now practice again. Go airy-fairy. Release it. Airy-fairy, airy-fairy. Oh, some of you are having a hard time releasing it. That's really good news. So that's why you practice these things. So you get a sense of what it feels like in your body to be out or to be in. So now, for those of you who ended up doing the airy-fairy thing, again, breathe yourself in and tether yourself down. And come to neutral. Ah, very good. I felt your system sinking even deeper in. Excellent. Now, imagine that your body is a receiver dish for information, because that's what it is. You have 360 degrees by 360 degrees. You are a receiving dish for frequency information. You cannot receive clear, concise, specific to you information if you're out in the mental realms or if you're floating out in the emotional realms. You just can't. You're going to get perceived through your filters information, and it's never correct. And for me, I hear it as fingernails on the chalkboard. So I always know if I'm reading a book or reading an article or hearing someone talk, whether they're speaking from their head, their emotions, or their power, their true self, because I can hear the sounds on it. Now you can learn how to do that same thing. You can learn what that truth feeling feels like. So now, when you're locked in to your entire system, I want you to think about the word lemon. And just feel that. What does lemon feel like in your system? Add yellow. What does yellow feel like in your system? Now think fire and red. How does that feel in your system? Orange. What does that feel like? Purple. Go to your feeling with any word that you want. You start to learn the feeling. Think of grandma. Some of you maybe don't have grandmas, but maybe you'll think of someone that you associate with grandma. Well, how do you know you're thinking about grandma and you're not thinking about orange? How do you know? It's because you perceive these frequencies in your personal radar dish here, receiving dish. You perceive these word symbols as a feeling inside your body. Now think of someone you love dearly. Now think of someone you don't love so dearly. And how does that make you feel like you're contracting? Think about inspiring music. What does that feel like in your system? You feel yourself expanding out. See, the reason that you have to know your own symbolism is because, say, for example, you're doing a guided meditation and the person guides you to that you're doing a back float on water. Now, for some people, it's going to be down in the Caribbean, nice warm water, sun shining, sparkles on the water. But what if you nearly drowned? If someone guides you to lay down on the water, it's going to create a completely different feeling for you. It's going to create a feeling of not safe. I'm terrified. There's going to be a shark come up from underneath and eat me. Oh my God, I don't like this at all. And you're going to ridge up on it. So in that case, you might end up putting a boat underneath you or a raft underneath you so that you feel safe. So symbolism is really important, but it's important and individual to you because you have had different life experiences than anyone else has had. A really good way to start to perceive information, if you're visual or if you get a sense of knowing or you hear information, is to get a good dream book. A really good dream book that I liked, it's a big purple one, about this big and about this thick. It's called The Mystical, Magical, Marvelous World of Dreams. What's nice about dream books is you don't believe what they say because they have many kinds of meanings to these symbols, because as words go through the cultures and through the centuries, they change meaning. And so what you're looking for is when you see, for example, a golden key. That's very common. The old-fashioned gold skeleton key is very common to show up. You look up key, and you're going to get 20 or 30 different meanings for that key. To help train you into what the symbolism means to you is you just be in that centered place, and then you just start reading the words, and you feel the words as they're going through your system, just like I had you do with lemon and orange and grandma. You feel these in your system, and then pretty soon you're going to get, because of it being in context with your dream or with your vision, you're going to get a feeling resonance with one of the meanings or more. That's how you start learning your symbolism. There's another way to start learning your symbolism. When you go in, and this is what I do all the time, when I go in with a question, or if I'm doing a meditation and I have a question, or I'm brought on an inner journey and I'm maybe given gifts, something like this, and I don't just get the gift and fall down in praise and worship of, whoever I'm talking to. They really get annoyed when you do that, by the way. So don't do that. Just be in a respectful manner with people that you meet along the way on your inner journeys. When you receive a gift and you don't know what the symbolism of it is, you get a gift and you go in and you say, well, what does this mean? And remember, when you get one meaning, you've got 19 more to go. There's always 20 meanings to a symbol. So don't just take the surface meaning. Look for deeper meanings and just keep asking the system, what else does it mean? And then sit and listen. Remember, always empty out your cup. And then ask again, what else does this mean? And wait in the stillness. And it'll just bubble up because you are creating a vacuum. It's really a meditation formula to get information. You have to create a vacuum and make room for the information to come in. So you've got to both ask the question and create the vacuum by emptying your cup and moving into the stillness. And when I do this, I feel like I take a breath in and I just relax deeper. And it's not relax, because I've seen a Qigong person who went into relaxation and still was not centered and grounded. So it's not relax, it's something deeper than this. It's a feeling of settling into my body fully and being more present. The more present you can be, the more power you have, the more information you can the more information you can receive. If you're all lost in your mind and your drama, you can't receive much information because the mental noise and emotional noise is very noisy. It's the difference between living on an interstate and living deep in the woods. It's that stark. The mental noise, the emotional noise versus your soul. And this is why I personally don't like to have a lot of people around me. I cultivate a life of quietness and silence. I am careful with the people that I have in my life. And I breathe, and I'm in nature a lot because nature has got the most pure sounds that are the most harmonious with you. So it's best to get out and camp and hike and be out in nature for your exercise if you've got the ability to do that. Always breathe. Deep breaths in, deep breaths out. When you shallow breathe, it doesn't help you, because when you're doing a shallow breath, you don't get a lot of star seeds coming in on that breath. You got to breathe in, gathering up that nourishing information and light into your system. It renews you. Oftentimes people don't know how to breathe deeply at all. So I'm going to give you an exercise now that's called 8 by 8 by 8 breathing. It means that you breathe in for the count of 8, you breathe out for the count of 8, and you do it 8 times. I am going to include the pause at the top of the breath and the pause at the bottom of the breath. I won't start doing the pause right away, just so you can start getting into the rhythm of this. But this allows you to know if you're a shallow breather or if you're already a good deep breather, because I can't move energy at all if I don't also coordinate it with my breath. So you've got to learn how to do some good breath work. So let's all take an out breath together. Oh no, let me give you some tips on this, because otherwise I know what you're going to be doing. All right. I'm going to be doing a pace about like this. But what happens when people are new to this is they take a big breath in, and then they're holding, going, when is she going to stop? And when is she going to breathe out? And you're holding your breath. And then people get too fast and they blow it all out, and then no breath in, and they're waiting. So pace yourself. It's about like this. I'm going to be counting it out. And so pace yourself. So first do a good centering breath in. Remember, make every breath count. You're breathing into that central channel. And when you breathe out, you're sinking down to that lower dantian, the base of that spine, locking in. Now breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Add the pause. In. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pause. 2, 3, 4. Out. 2, 3, 4. 7, 8. Pause. 2, 3, 4. In. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pause. 2, 3, 4. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pause. 2, 3, 4. Fifth one. In. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pause. 2, 3, 4. And out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pause. 2, 3, 4. In. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pause. 2, 3, 4. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pause. 2, 3, 4. In. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pause. 2, 3, 4. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pause. 2, 3, 4. In. 2, 3, 4. 7, 8. Pause. 2, 3, 4. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pause. 2, 3, 4. And natural breathing. Good job. This is really excellent to do as you're waking up in the morning. When you are sleeping, you breathe very shallowly, and this is why you yawn, to get more oxygenation into your system. So if you're laying there in the morning, you can start doing your breath work, and I just count them on my fingers. And I count in my mind the in 2, 3, 4, out 6, 7, 8, in and out, because you actually start getting so relaxed at about the 5th breath, even the 4th breath, that pretty soon you don't know if you're going in, you don't know if you're going out, if you're pausing, because you really do start shifting your consciousness just by your breath work alone. All right, so we're talking about how to get information from your receiving dish. Now you know how to work a little bit with the breath and how to always sink down. The biggest thing that I am finding constantly, healers, psychic mediums, psychics, intuitives, people who want to make a shift in their life, it is the #1 mistake I find all the time. That people are in forward of themselves into the future. They're in the back, being dragged back by a past memory. They're pushed side to side with their body, their mind, their emotions. You have to learn to just ignore everything that's outside of yourself and learn to manage your own body, mind, emotion, energetic system. When you can do that and you get yourself locked in, you are naturally, without doing anything else, you are naturally going to start to perceive more information. When you deal with your own buttons, you are automatically going to perceive more information because you are going to see the patterns in your own behaviors. And as you see your own behavioral patterns, you are going to begin to see other people's patterns. From the time I was a little girl, and I'm talking a little girl, I was born in June, and I went to kindergarten when I was 5 years old. I have had spirit teachers. I had one experience with my spirit teachers where we were all around a piano. We had little wooden, metal and wood chairs. We were tiny little kindergartners. And the children were picking on this one little boy, and I remember his name was Ivan, the sweetest little kid. And they were pulling the chair out from underneath him, and then he would fall, and he would get hurt. And then all the kids would laugh, and my system was so upset about this because it physically hurt me what this little boy was experiencing. And I found myself out of body, watching my physical body over in that little chair. But when I was out of body, I was standing by a really large light being. And the light being was saying to me, you know, do you see what it is that they're doing? And I said, how can they not hear? How can they not see and perceive how painful this is? They're tortured, their little minds torturing this little boy. And this big bright being said to me, now you go do it. And here I am, 5 years old, kind of my little hands on my hips and my little spirit body saying, I will not do that. It's wrong. I mean, it was just so wrong. And I found myself forced back into my body, walking over to that little boy and pulling that chair out from underneath him. And I was mad because I didn't want to do it. and I could hear the sound of the little boy, how this hurt his spirit. I didn't like it. And the lesson for me in that time when I was 5 years old is, this is how deaf humanity is. It is because we have been trained to give our power away to our parents, to people outside of us. I teach in China. These lovely people are taught to give their power away to everyone, and I'm constantly working on pushing them back into their own sovereignty, their own power. It is so critical for you to learn how to perceive, because I hear it so clearly, so noisily, that if humanity can't hear what I'm hearing, how can you evolve? I am trying to give you the information to help you personally evolve. I wish as a young woman I would have had these teachings so that I could cut through all the BS, all the going here, there, and everywhere, and I could just have had this information. And I would always complain to my inner teachers, why can't I have an outer teacher? Just, why do I have to constantly sink in, get that information? Why? Why can't you just tell me? Well, they wanted me to process my experience through this human body, because they said, as a soul, you have a responsibility to help evolve humanity. Humanity, these are just biological suits that we live in and we perceive in. But if we want to have a playground to be in this earth realm, and it's meant to be a playground, if we are going to have this playground here, then that means that we have to step it up with our own systems, and people want to. I know people are hungry for this information. And you have to be able to lock yourself down and stop giving your power away to everyone. So when I would complain to my spirit teachers that I wanted to just be told, they would always say, one, that I had to perceive it through my own human experience so that I could have compassion and understanding for humanity. And then they also said, we would also not have you corrupted by the small minds of man. We would not have you corrupted by the small minds of man. What that told me is that information outside of yourself is only the perception information of the person saying it. And your filters might be different. But when you go within, there are no perception filters except through the own layers that you still might have to deal with of your own body, mind, and emotion buttons. But once you get those buttons cleared, you have access to purity, direct access to information, and it doesn't matter what information that you want. You have direct access to it. There came a time when I was in my early 20s. When I was 18, I spent 9 months in prayer, fasting, and meditation. And I'll be telling you that whole story another time. But in my early 20s, I was raising my children, going to college, getting married, raising my children. So I was in that, I don't think I even had the kids yet. No, I hadn't had the kids yet. So it would have been my late 20s. I had my spirit teachers show up to me, and they said, we're leaving you now, but we'll be back. And I said, leaving me? I never knew what it was like not to have this inner conversation. This is normal for me. I said, what do you mean you're leaving me? And they said, you must learn how to live as a human now. And I didn't understand what they meant at the time. And when they left, it literally felt like I had a paper bag, a close paper bag, rolled up over my head, and that my ears were stuffed with cotton. That's how odd it was for me. And I tried to perceive my reality in this way, and I just felt like I was suffocating. And I said, is this what it's like when people get so caught up in their polarities, so caught up in their body, mind, and emotion drama, that they literally, it feels like I had a bag on my head, my ears stuffed. So I'm trying to teach you how to take the stuffing out of your ears and how to take the bag off of your head so that you can go in and make direct contact with our cousins in the sky, our spirit guides, our religious leaders who are on the other side in another dimension still desiring to help us. It's like we're kindergartners here, and our higher level consciousness friends and beings are trying to, like they're in college, they're just reaching down a helping hand. But you can't hear them if you don't have your energy body right, your body, mind, and emotion right. I think that's all I have for today. This is Ellie Drew, your clairvoyant researcher. See you next time.